Congressman Steve Stockman, you are here in Lebanon. You are most welcome. You have been honored by الرواد Awards, and you had a prize from a committee that the members of this committee are from different countries in the region. So how do you think about this prize? And your descendants are from Lebanon. So how do you feel about this?
Well, you're right, Maria. I am Lebanese ancestry. Both of my grandfathers come from southern Lebanon. I've always believed in what the Lebanese poet Khalil Gibran said: "He who denies his heritage has no heritage." So I'm very proud of my heritage. I make no effort to hide it, but rather I bring it out in public everywhere I can.
Yeah,
I want to commend you and your group for what you did on Sunday night in honoring so many worthwhile individuals across the region for the tremendous work they do in the arts and in entertainment and in building bridges among people.
Yeah. Congressman Rahal, you have been spent 38 years in the Congress Council. So I just want to know, how was your experience and what was the most difficulties that you faced during this period?
Well, my first responsibilities as a member of Congress from West Virginia, my home state, of course, was to represent the constituents that sent me to Washington. And I did my very best to do that. Our coal mining industry is the largest industry in my area. Our coal miners have a lot of health, safety, and pension problems. I did my best successfully over the years to help our coal miners. I did a lot for tourism, bringing in tourism in southern West Virginia, protecting our areas from encroachment by various energy companies. So those were the challenges I faced, and I felt I dealt with them successfully in the 38 years that I served in the Congress. I regret nothing that I did, and was very proud, including my work in the Middle East, in trying to further the understanding of the American people about the issues in the Middle East.
Especially you were a fierce advocate for the Palestinian case, and you visited the Palestinian territories for many times, not only once. So how do you feel about the end of this conflict between Israel and Palestine?
Well, I know it may be out of vogue today to still advocate a two-state solution, but I still advocate that, and I feel that that's the best route to pursue to achieve a comprehensive peace in the region. The Palestinians need their own state, living in security. The Israelis need their own state, living in security. And I'm talking about going back to the 1967 boundaries as far as the division between the two states, based on the Arab Peace Initiative. That is coming to the table once again. That is being put forth by some in negotiations today. Hopefully there'll be some announcement or some progress toward that Arab Peace Initiative before the Obama administration leaves office, setting the groundwork for whoever is the next president to build upon and not give up on this region. It's in America's interest.
We are ready for a peace compromise?
Well, right now it's very difficult. The two sides do not appear to have the chemistry and the leadership to be able to get together. They're blaming each other for too many problems that have been around for so long. The Israelis claim they don't have a partner in the Palestinian side, and the Palestinians are divided between Hamas and Fatah. So that is a real problem. The Palestinians have to unite and get together so that the Israelis no longer have the excuse that they have no partner with whom to deal. So there's issues on both sides. There's problems with the leaders on both sides of the issue. So perhaps the stars are not lining up right now. And it is incumbent upon both parties to want peace themselves. The United States cannot shove it down their throat.
Why this case is now we don't see it very often in the media. We are now talking in the media and in the international media about the bombing everywhere, in Europe, in Turkey, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in the Middle East, in Syria. So I think the Palestine case is now on the side. It's not very often to talk about. So do you think who is benefiting of this? Who have the benefit of this situation? Is it Israel or the Jewish?
Bombings of this nature do invoke fear and anger among peoples everywhere, not just in America. They're fearful. And the more of these type of suicide efforts that occur, the more fear invoked in our people. But that does not mean our leaders, such as the Republican candidate running for president, should play and should stoke those fears even further. The speech that Donald Trump gave at the Republican convention was one of anger, and that's not what the American people are about. It takes a calm, cool, and collected voice to address the angst among the American people and the people of the world. These are legitimate concerns and fears that we have, but we should not allow the terrorists to win by changing our way of life. We only should continue with our way of life and be more vigilant and report suspicious activity, do the normal things.
So do you think that Donald Trump poses threat to the future of the United States, and it's a danger on the external and internal policy in the United States?
Well, we can do a better job of addressing the terrorism issue. For one, we can look at the ideas that stoke not only Daesh or ISIS, but these individuals that are deranged enough to get the weapons that are easily available to them and go out and shoot in a mall or shoot upon police. We have to have better mental health laws, for example, so we can detect in our hospitals.
How we can fight them?
Well, we're not going to defeat them 100%. I mean, we got to face that. There's always going to be that lone wolf out there in a shopping mall or somewhere who all of a sudden decides at the last minute they're going to terrorize people. You know, let's not be naive. We're not going to defeat them 100%. We can do a better job than what we're doing today. And that is by addressing the ideas that are instilled in our young people at an early age that they otherwise have no hope, no education, no ability to discern what is bad. And therefore, they're easy prey for the terrorists to invoke in them a desire to strap a suicide belt around them and pull a trigger in the mall because they're led to believe they'll go on to a better life than the one in which they have
this
today.
This is an ideology.
It's an ideology we have to address. I mean, I don't say we take the bombing off the table. You have to hit their command and control centers, but in a very smart way, not just blanket bombing, but in a smart, calculated way using human intelligence that's been gathered from our allies and others on the ground. But we, in addition to that, we have to have address the ideology. Yes.
Yeah. Do you think that? Do you agree with President Obama when he said that to finish ISIS we need 2 decades?
I did not hear him say that, and I'm not sure of the context in which he said it. But again, bombs alone are not going to defeat ISIS. We also have to have a plan after the bombing campaigns.
What do you
of how do we
as a plan to do?
Well, we have to work with all the parties in Syria especially, and in Iraq and other countries. And we have to address it politically. We have to bring all the players to the table. We have to be inclusive and transparent in that process and allow them a say, especially the people of these countries, allow them a say in their future.
Do you think that Washington have been made mistakes dealing with the Syrian opposition?
Yes. Our policy has been dizzy in some cases. I can't even follow it. When we draw red lines in the sand and then we don't enforce those red lines, when we call ISIS a JV of terrorists, make statements like that, those are mistakes. And there are perhaps signs that a new administration would be more vigorous in this area, that they would maybe more strongly help some vetted Syrian rebels, some of this Free Syrian Army that we can trust. Perhaps
not the Free Syrian armies that they exist now, or
perhaps if you know they are vetted and if our intelligence can prove to the decision makers in Washington that the arms we give them, perhaps give them, or the help we give them, are not going to end up in ISIS hands.
How we can control this, and why we couldn't
through better intelligence on the ground, through working with our allies. They need to be.
There was a gap in the communication with the. There was some mistakes. We can put it on the others, on some allies, Arab allies like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and
there's been gaps in communication, yes, and we can do a better job of communicating and gathering the information we need to gather. Yes.
Why some analysts say that the that if Bashar Assad stay is more better for everybody.
Yes, well, I can recognize where there are some sects within Syria that feel in Bashar Assad they have somebody going to keep them from being slaughtered and being massacred. So Bashar Assad, to some groups within Syria, is viewed as their protector. But nevertheless, there are more people suffering because of his actions, and more loss of innocent life through his barrel bombing and other inhumane atrocities that have been conducted by his forces. And that's what cannot be allowed to continue and cannot stand.
So is it the solution going to be a military solution or a...
Not alone. We need a military action,
Yeah.
yes. But that alone will not solve the problem. We need a political solution as well.
Can we find the solution in this يعني nearly?
I'm afraid President Obama is doing a more or less kicking the can down the road.
Do you think that Hillary Clinton, if she will be elected, she can do some يعني new comportment against the dictatorial regimes in the country, in the Middle East?
I think she has the experience and the knowledge of the area to work with all of our allies, to work with the players that are involved, and I believe she has a idea of how she can address the political situation in Syria. She might, if we judge by her past record, it appears that she has disagreed with the Obama administration as far as arming the Syrian rebels in the very beginning. She may have not based this on any statements or facts or anything she said, be more rigorous in supporting the Syrian rebels against the
or to divide
Syrian
Syria
regime.
for
I don't think anybody wants to see Syria divided. That I don't believe would be good for the people of Syria. And certainly we have to address the refugee issue, and we have
in
to,
Lebanon,
especially in Lebanon. It's such a strain on the economy here in Lebanon. 1.2 million refugees.
Is it a new Middle East map?
I don't think
I'm
we're looking at
giving
a new Middle East map geographically.
Yeah.
Certainly each country's territorial sovereignty should be respected, as should Lebanon's and their independence. But I think perhaps there is a realignment of some of the players, and some of the political realignment is going on, yes.
How do you think about the weapons, Hezbollah weapons, and how it could be, and how does their interference in Syria affect Lebanon in reality?
Well, certainly Hezbollah has been changed over the last decade from a resistance movement in Lebanon, although that's still their mission, to a military power in the region. They've amassed the rockets now and the weapons in their arsenal that can be very dangerous for Israel, number one, and that could cause some problems in the future. Right now, I would say that Hezbollah, fighting ISIS as they have, is helping keep Lebanon secure and stable. You have the Lebanese forces, number one, and I commend General...
We have to give them support?
Yes, and the U.S. is giving the Lebanese army more support. And General Khawaji does a tremendous job of keeping Lebanon secure and stable. He's doing it in a very methodological way in finding the bad guys in the Syrian camps or Palestinian camps and ejecting them from the country or arresting them. We feel better in the United States about giving arms and help to the Lebanese army without the fear that it's going to end up in Hezbollah's hands, because the General Khawaji has control and he's using it for the right reasons.
So can we conclude that General Ahwaji is the candidate of USA right now?
No, I'm not saying that at all. Didn't get into the political arena at all. I'm saying what he's doing for the Lebanese people is very good.
How do you describe Lebanon without a president? How we are يعني how do you see the situation?
It's ironic that without a president there's not been fighting. I mean, when you look at the whole region and turmoil that exists in the countries around Lebanon, God bless Lebanon for the security and stability. We hope it continues that way, that there's no fighting in this country. It appears that all the factions agree if they don't agree politically on a president, at least they're agreeing on not fighting each other. And they've agreed to fight ISIS instead.
Yeah, how do you think the possibility for Jaja, Dr. Sami Jaja, to arrive to the presidency, to be a president?
Well, I'm not going to comment on one candidate over another. There are some individuals out there that, of course, are vying for the office of president. Everybody knows that some of the outside regional players have a say in who the next president will be. I think that's unfortunate. I think the Lebanese should get together and decide among themselves. And if they want to change their electoral law or their constitution, that should be the Lebanese people's decision, free and independent of outside forces.
People says, and in the media, it's very well known that the presidency or the paper of the presidency is in the hands of Iran and Hezbollah. They can decide when, where, and who can be the next.
Well, and then some say it's Saudi Arabia too. The two are the two main factors from the outside affecting Lebanon. But again, it goes back to Syria. I think what happens in Syria is going to be very important to the future of Lebanon, and that's why we need a political solution to the issue of Syria and Iraq. So the fighting around Lebanon affects when and where the outside powers, if they are going to come together and reach an agreement to help Lebanon.
You were yesterday with a meeting or a dinner with the new ambassador in Lebanon, American Elizabeth.
Elizabeth Richards, yes.
Yeah.
Very qualified individual. She will do a good job.
How can you say a word about her?
She's well qualified.
Yeah.
She's hit the ground running, so to speak, here in Lebanon, and she will represent the U.S. To the best of any of our ambassadors. We've had some good ones here too. And she is making her rounds now to the various groups in Lebanon to tell them that the United States is here to help them.
Yeah, it's a small country, and they say, now Lebanon, we don't want to talk. We have to make an agreement between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and we have to make a solution in Iraq and in Syria, and then we have we think about to find a solution for Lebanon. So,
well,
we are not on the agenda. That's what I mean.
Well, Lebanon is doing very well security-wise today because
this is why you
of
are
its,
in Lebanon, and
forces.
you are not afraid about.
I'm not afraid to come to Beirut.
Really?
Not afraid to come to Lebanon. I tell everybody in the United States that they should not be afraid. Our business people should not be afraid to come here and do business in Lebanon.
Really, you approach that? Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
I mean, it's as safe today as Washington D.C. is.
Even our economy is very bad, it's going very bad.
Well, you have a central bank governor that's doing a good job that has really tempered some money laundering laws that otherwise would have hurt some good institutions here in Lebanon that serve the people, that provide important services to the people. So I give your central bank governor a great deal of credit for ironing out the wrinkles that exist in that new U.S. law. And
what do you think about the bombings that happened to one of the banks, Lebanon wal Mahjar?
Well, that was intended to send a message, but I believe that is before.
Who do you think is responsible of it?
I have no idea who's responsible.
Who is responsible of all the assassinations that was done in Lebanon? Hariri, Rani Mawad, Rafiq Hariri, Rani Mawad, and all the others of the revolution.
There's been investigations. There's an international tribunal that's been set up to address.
Do you think gonna have a solution or an answer about all the questions? The international tribunal.
Inshallah.
Congressman Nick Rehal, you are the chairman of a foundation, that Mawad Foundation. So do you have some work in Lebanon or only in, what is your...
Well, there's a Lebanon branch of the Renee Mawad Foundation, and there's a Washington, D.C. branch. I'm chairman of the board of the Washington, D.C. branch in America. And the work that the foundation does is of tremendous benefit to the Lebanese people, especially the young people.
In U.S.
Here in Lebanon.
And in U.S. there is Lebanese. You can help Lebanese people
by raising money,
yeah.
And by sending it here to Lebanon, where it will be put to work in good use for the children of Lebanon. USAID is a good partner with the Renee Mawad Foundation in building water and sewage systems across Lebanon, again, to help the people. There is a great deal that our government has done that doesn't get the publicity or the headlines of a lot of other actions in this region. But nevertheless, the U.S. is here, and that is a way that we can fight terrorism as effectively, if not more so than bombs, is through our USAID program, helping the infrastructure of the country, helping the educational system, helping change the minds. Or
USAID, we call it in Lebanon.
Yes. They do tremendous work.
Congressman Nick Rahal, I'm very glad to have this conversation with you, this interview, and I wish you the best day in Lebanon and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Ambassador Maria Malouf. I appreciate it and salute you for the work you do in building peace.
Thank you so much.